Well, the beet pile is about half full, so I'd say we're about half done with harvest. Welcome to the Red River Valley of North Dakota. A land flowing with milk and honey. You're watching Beet Farmin Mitch. Holy smokes, the boys made a lot of progress last night. Looks like things went pretty good for them. So it's currently 1:50 a.m., just starting my shift. So anyway, I'm Beet Farmin Mitch. We are about in the middle of beet harvest. Thank you for tagging along, and for sure, don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss a beet. Lots of rock and roll. We got beets to dig, miles to drive.
Copy there, Michael.
Yep.
So you got the last pass by the trees, right?
I did, yes. First truck of the night loaded. So we're pretty much just gonna finish this chunk that we're on, and then we're gonna be heading up north. Chopping tops. So I'm out here running the Sugar Beet Harvester, 12 rows, 22-inch spacing, and a 4-ton tank. But the tank really doesn't do much. That's basically just so that you can start harvesting when the truck shows up, or harvest a little bit after, or open a field up. You don't get very far. So our GPS is pretty accurate, but we still have to do this trim feature, so that's -2 inches. So technically the GPS is compensating 2 inches that way, because you got to keep your tires in the row. And you can always switch to pilot mode, but this one's easier to see. On the road again. Pretty easy to put this thing into road mode. You just gotta fold the boom up. Well, it's 3:04 right now. We'll see what time it is when we get to the next field.
Well, this is a pretty good time to move here. There's no traffic back in there.
Yes, this is working out really nice here. This is pretty good going. There you go. Word of advice for the day from Dad. If you gotta travel at 3 a.m. because nobody else is. About an hour and a half later, we made it to the field. And on the handle, if I press the right button, the boom unfolds. Oh yeah, definitely our truck's coming there. This field is digging like a dream. This one's got some nice mellow soil. It's pulling good, and we're filling trucks. This is fun. It is 6:40 a.m. The sun's gonna be coming up soon, but hey, when I get up early and start my day and I'm out here by 1:30 a.m., lunchtime is usually a little bit more in the morning. So today I gotta cook what I'm gonna eat, and so we're gonna make some pork and beans. How will you heat this up, Mitch? Well, let me show you. So that's the oil filter there, and it gets pretty warm, but I gotta give it like 2.5 to 3 hours and it'll be just the right temp. Well, it's just about 10, so we're gonna go check the beans. We're gonna leave them there a couple more hours because it's kind of just warm, and it's colder out today. It's like in the upper 30s, so I don't think it's heating up quite as fast. Last time I had a can of soup on there, it was hot in like 3 hours, 2.5, so I think it's gonna need a couple more hours. We'll wait till noon and see what we got. Hopefully it doesn't explode on me. So my dad is in the topper. He's basically not stopping, and then we got our 2 harvesters out here, and he's keeping up. He's a fair bit ahead right now, so he's actually doing pretty good. The trucks are going fairly quick, but there was just a breakdown at the piler, so usually it's gonna slow down now for a while. But we're doing pretty good. For starting at 5 o'clock this morning, we got a large chunk in the center done and a couple rounds over here, so we're moving. Well, trucks are taking a little bit to come back, so might as well do a little devotional. Jenny and I are reading Love and Respect devotional on the Bible app. It's been good. This is kind of one takeaway I had from it today. The guy who wrote this said his wife doesn't cause him to be the way he is, she reveals the way he is. Think about that for a little bit. And anytime I get a chance like this where it's taken a while, I usually like to give this thing a good inspection, check the chains, clean some mud, give it the service when it's time, but I'm pretty caught up on everything right now. All right, let's go check the beans again. We're gonna go with that. It feels pretty warm. Probably could be a little hotter, but I think it'll be good enough. Uh-oh. Doesn't have a pull tab. Don't worry, I came prepared. This is Tractor Cab Pork and Beans, Beet Harvest Edition. We're in the heart of Beet Harvest. We're smack dab in the middle, and hey, sometimes you just gotta make do with what you got. Ooh, I gotta give it a good stir. One side's a lot warmer than the other. I'm not seeing any pork in here. Maybe it's all minced up. Is this the most appetizing meal? No. But it'll get us through today. Our daily bread, or should I say our daily beans today. So I mentioned before, we grow a variety of crops on our farm, everything from wheat to pinto beans to sugar beets to corn, soybeans, and sunflowers. And I've thought, okay, could I make a dish with all of those crops? And I think you could make baked beans with it. We got prepared beans, water, tomato puree, sugar, and then you could probably just make everything else work in here. What do you think? What are some foods you could make with those ingredients? Wheat, pinto beans, sugar, corn, sunflowers, soybeans. But you gotta use all 6 of them. So my Uncle David, he actually did this, and except he added another crop. He added navy beans, because we used to grow navy beans, so 7 crops then total, and he made a 7-crop snack mix for us and dropped it off in the shop. It was pretty good. It was like roasted pinto beans and navy beans, and he incorporated all the ingredients in it. But a lot of our pinto beans go to bush beans, like Bush's baked beans, Bush's grilling beans. So that's some good stuff. So that's why Bush's beans are so good, is because they start with good ingredients. But anyway, if you haven't seen my videos on pinto bean harvest, you should check it out, because that's kind of a food to or farm to table type food that everybody should know where that comes from. Nice shelter belt. These are some cool trees actually here. I do remember one year it started snowing during beet harvest, not 2019, different time, just kind of some flurries. And I put Christmas music on in the cab. It was like the last field and things were actually going pretty good. A couple snow flurries, listening to some Christmas music. Now that was a pretty fun day. Everything's all looking good with the harvester here. Not really building up with any dirt. And it looks pretty good behind the lifter. I mean, some of this stuff, I mean, you're just not gonna get all these little guys. Sometimes you just gotta get out, walk around, check things out. So if you take a look up here, you can see how the rows are kind of a little crooked. That was from a geomagnetic storm that came through, that when there's a bunch of solar flares and northern lights and all that stuff this spring. We did not want to stop the beet planters, but we had to that day because it was so bad. Which actually at harvest, it's been going okay. As long as you can get them topped okay, it hasn't been the end of the world. I've been having to trim with the GPS, and then there's been a couple spots where I've had to steer by hand, but not ideal, not a very common thing. But the geomagnetic storm thing, that was kind of an odd problem farmers had to face this year, and it just kind of happened recently again this fall. You can see it looks like these beets are actually kind of sunk in the ground more. This is a high sugar variety, and it seems like they always kind of stick in the ground a little farther. Basically, when it comes to plant genetics, especially for sugar beets, you kind of have to either get high tons or high sugar, and this is kind of the high sugar one. So maybe a little less tons, but it usually evens itself out. There we go. When you hit that driveway on the west side there, you can actually turn and go south half a mile and then turn and go east again to the highway.
Are you going to do a move down Freehold?
Yep, exactly like that. I always like loading a couple of the day shift guys before my shift is done. You know, a lot of them, they'll show up at like 1:45 or something, and if they're guys in the field, they'll just switch. So it's fun to get a couple of the day crew guys on. But holy smokes, it's already almost 2 o'clock. Where does the time go? Granted, I did take a little nap today because the trucks were taking so long to come back, which that was pretty nice. So I'm just switching out of my shift with my brother Jason. He's the one who runs the harvester on the other half. What do you think of the harvest conditions this year?
Well, the conditions have been actually really good. It's been dry, a little dry, so it's been a little hard pulling with the tractor, but the beets have come out very clean and they're in nice shape. And we haven't had to scrape a whole lot of mud on everything, so that's really helped with keeping the guys from getting worn out. And other than that, it's been going pretty good.
Sounds good. Well, have fun today.
Thank you.
We'll see you soon. Yep, and Jason brought up a good point. This is easier on our truck drivers. Not as much mud for them, not as much mud for us. Everything's been going a lot better. Some years we have to go to Philistia and back, and that's not very fun. We're gonna be getting down there, so stick around. We got a couple more beet harvest videos left, and yeah, don't forget to keep it sweet.